Hey everyone, this is a little bit different video than I've been recording. I feel like I say that with all the videos, but I want to talk about what has been the hardest part of COVID pneumonia recovery for me. And that is it's really a root cause of the steroid that I'm on, dexamethasone, and the side effects that it has had on me, specifically side effects around rapid weight gain and retention. And when I say rapid weight gain, just to provide context, I'm talking like 50 plus pounds in a matter of weeks. Rapid weight gain. It sucks, but let's dive into it. If you have been on dexamethasone, if you've gone through a similar experience with COVID pneumonia recovery, if you've been on prednisone and experienced this, whatever it is, please drop it in the comments below. Because I know that people find a lot of these videos I make and they'll comment and they'll say like, I'm not seeing anyone else talk about this, or I thought I was the only one, or they'll message me and say, hey, I'm so glad you shared that. I thought it was just me that experienced X, Y, and Z. So share your experience in the comment below. So when other people find this, they will see that they're not alone. Also validate that I'm not crazy and the only one experiencing this. So let's jump into it. I feel like my lungs don't even have an opportunity to be the limiting factor in my recovery because of all the other shit I'm going. The other day I biked for about 40 seconds on the stationary bike. It was the first time I've done it since being discharged. And the reason I stopped is that my legs were shaking and my legs were having trouble with the biking motion of going straight forward. They want to go wobbly everywhere because they're not coordinated. They got no muscle. So my legs fatigued before my lungs fatigued. I could feel my lungs working, but my lungs weren't the thing where I went, oh man, like I'm going to have an asthma attack or my lung is going to go out. It was because my legs couldn't handle it. Now, I do want to caveat this entire video with I recognize that I am likely alive today complaining about dexamethasone because of dexamethasone. So if you're in the hospital and you've seen this video and you go, oh man, I don't want these side effects, don't give me that drug, don't say that. Like if it's going to save your life, it's a lot easier to rebuild muscles and try and make yourself undead. I'm also not a medical professional. I'm just a kid who's gone through this stuff. Probably not even a kid. I'm in my 30s. But I'm just sharing my experience of going through this. So if you're sitting there thinking, I think I have COVID, or I have COVID and I'm worried about getting pneumonia, or I have pneumonia and they're talking about this, don't ask me medical questions. I got nothing for you. You got to go to your doctor for that. I am not a medical professional. I'm not your doctor. I'm just sharing my experiences and creating a space in which you can share yours in the comments below also. So let's dig into it. Dexamethasone is a steroid that's used in a variety of cases, but most recently it's gained a lot of popularity as being considered the COVID steroid. It's often used for people who have COVID along with pneumonia or other large lung inflammation. It is 5 times stronger than prednisone, which is a pretty commonly prescribed steroid, I would say. I've been on prednisone multiple times for asthma and other lung issues. If you've been watching, if you've been hanging out with me for a while, you know I got lung issues. So I've been on prednisone before. When I'm on prednisone, I'm usually on for maybe like 8 or 10 days. I never have these issues. So for me, this is the first time that I've been on a steroid that's really impacted my life like this. As of this recording, I've been on dexamethasone about 11 weeks. I went on early November when I was in the hospital. It's currently end of January and I have a little over a full week left until I'm done with my taper. At one point, you have to taper off the steroid. You can't just go cold turkey. And it's considered usually 1 milligram a week. I said 1 milligram. I don't think that's the right unit of measurement for it, but it's 1 unit of measurement a week. My pulmonologist, end of December, tried to get me on a more aggressive taper to get off the steroids sooner because the steroids are having such a massive impact on my life. And my body did not respond to it. I was sleeping 8 to 10 hours a day on top of 12 hours at night. I started getting a cough. My lungs were getting inflamed again. So I went on a higher dosage of it and then started tapering off again. My body has handled the taper, knock on wood, well since then. So I am anticipating being off next week. So let's talk side effects, which is the topic of the video. I'm going to put up a list right here. These are common side effects of being on dexamethasone. More common if you're on it longer. So if you're on it for like 3 or 4 days or a week, less likely this will happen. It's more if you're on it for the long haul. I've got most of these. Other ones that also happened, I had inflammation in the cartilage on my rib cage, so it was pretty painful when I would breathe when I first got discharged. Heaven forbid I touched my chest. Now that was excruciatingly painful. I had an effusion on my heart, which is a extra fluid on the heart essentially from it. I feel like I had a couple other things that have gone better since then that I'm just not thinking of. But and then I had this. And there's a few things on here that may stand out to you. Rapid weight gain. As I said before, from my starting weight before I went in to the lowest there, it was about 20 pounds. And I suspected that was primarily muscle. I could see my calves were smaller and I wasn't getting out of the bed. I literally had a catheter in. I was completely not leaving the bed for weeks. And I lost about 20 pounds. And then upon discharge, I was close to my starting weight. But if we look at that, 20 pounds down, let's say 10 pounds up from that 20, so still negative 10 at discharge, from the negative 20 to now is almost 60. And I would say 50 of that was in the first 2 to 3 weeks. It came on very quickly and I could feel it. There's also an item on this list where it's like the location of fat deposits, which sounds weird, but I have like my upper back has a big hump on it now, which is causing my neck to always have to be a little bit forward. Like that's a weird one that I think I can also relate to. The steroids also cause abdomen distension, which essentially means your stomach is bigger than it usually would be. It also causes hunger, like ravenous hunger. When I first was discharged, I was hungry 24/7. I would literally eat hamburger helper. I'd have like half the full thing that was made. And I would feel physically full and still be hungry and get hunger grumbly pains. It was the weirdest thing. And my taste and my smell were super messed up. And so I would just crave salt. And I was craving sweets for a long time too, which is not characteristic of me. I'm generally not a sweets gal. I am a like salty, crunchy gal. But I would just crave salt and sweets 24/7 around the clock. Everything tasted weird. It was not a good combination for that. So when I share that, I'm also recognizing that of this, let's say 60 pounds that has been gained, there's definitely portions that are retention, water retention. And I say that with confidence because my feet get bloated. It's like everything is like hard, like it's retention. But there is a portion of that definitely is weight gain. It's just simple math, calories in, calories out. I can't be as active as I used to be. I spend most of my time sitting. I'm eating a ton because I'm always hungry 24/7. My stomach's larger, so I can eat more. So there's definitely a combination in there. Now, regardless of what that mixture is, the sheer fact of gaining that much weight in such a short period of time has put a hard toll on my body. It's painful. As you see, my face is swollen. I'll put up some pictures of my face before I went in and during going in. You can see that they call it moon face. It's swollen. My neck is swollen. So when I turn my neck, I feel it just stretch because it doesn't want to turn. And it's hard. This is all hard. So when I talk, I feel the skin on my forehead pulling. It's the weirdest sensation. My joints hurt. Specifically, I was having a lot of issues before I went on water pills, which I take every morning, and I spend about 4 hours peeing every 15 minutes. Before I went on the water pills, it was probably 3 or 4 nights in a row where I'd be in bed and I would just feel like my knees were going to explode. It was so incredibly painful. My ankles would feel like they were being pulled apart. I'm hypermobile, so I displace joints pretty easily, and it felt like I was going to displace them. When the cramping that comes from water retention too, it feels like a Charlie horse, but it happens in really random spots. And so I still get it almost daily where the fascia, like the bottom of my feet cramp, my calves cramp on the outsides of them and the inside, not where the calf muscle is, but my lower legs on the inside outside, and the front, they just start cramping. And it's not like a muscle cramp where you can just like contract the muscle and it'll help it kind of release, because I think it's cramping because water's like moving. I don't know logistically how it works. All I know is it's really painful. It's more painful than an actual muscle cramp. on that side. And my body feels like it's just physically stretching out. I have new stretch marks. So I know it's physically stretching out, and that's painful. Like, if you want to get a sense for what it feels like, in the winter when you put on like 2 or 3 sweatshirts and a jacket, and then you go outside and you have to like maybe bend over and like put your boots on, and it's hard because all of a sudden like you're constricted and there's this thing that stops you from being able to bend over as far as you usually could. That's what it feels like, but then add pain to it. So when I go to like put my shoe on, I now have to sit on the couch and put my leg up and tie my shoe. I can't put my foot on my knee because when I do that, also because of my muscles, I lost a lot of muscle. I wasn't moving. I don't have the flexibility to really do it anymore. But on top of that, my stomach is in the way. And again, it's hard. It's like hard and it's painful and it feels like the skin is stretching. So any additional motion just like makes it feel like it's pulling apart so much more. I just feel swollen and poofy. And that combined with how weak my muscles are, it just created this really weird situation where my perception is that my lungs aren't the limiting factor. And I also am concerned that my lungs aren't getting enough of a workout because my body is the weakest part. But I can't address any of the body stuff until I'm off the steroids. Because I'm also really concerned that my thyroid is off for many reasons. But again, the steroid could be causing the thyroid issues. So until I get off of it, it's like the steroid is that big obstacle I have to work through first. And then my expectation is that when I'm off of it, end of next week, that, I will immediately lose some of the bloating and swelling. I'm definitely going to still have weight gain that I have to work through. And that my muscles will start to rebuild quicker because again, the steroid suppresses it. So I'm doing what I can, but I think it's really limiting what I can do. So my expectation and my hope and what I really want more than anything is that when I get off the steroids, all these other issues just kind of start melting away, and it might take a bit, but that I can really start recovering muscle and working out and moving and get to that point where I feel my lungs starting to rebuild their strength and I'm able to start really getting my lungs back up and running. Because right now, I've done what I can for my lungs, but until my body's caught up, it doesn't matter. And I just cannot wait for the swelling to go down. When I'm sleeping at night, I can feel my heartbeat in my neck, which is like weird. Oh, I'm just so, yeah, it's been a challenge. But end of the day, I'm just glad to be, to be on this side of the dirt, glad to be here and being able to share these experiences. And I just hope that it helps someone else who's going through this feel hopeful, like there's light at the end of the tunnel. Or I'm just trying to convince myself there's light at the end of the tunnel because I want to get there. I just want to deadlift 405 and do a muscle up. That's all I want to do. It's not too much to ask. But comment below if you've gone through something similar. Please share your experiences with the world so that we all know that we're not alone. And I will talk to you guys on the next update.